Now enjoy this fun photo collage of some of your favorite stars and politicians who speak about the need to reduce our carbon footprint, but who are always on private planes. That's right, all of them. If you don't see a celebrity's picture here, it's because we weren't allowed to use it. Or their series got canceled.
Maher just dropped a massive truth bomb on Hollywood's self-proclaimed virtuous elite. And it was pure comedic chaos from start to finish. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Put your faith in these woke heroes, and you'll end up watching a front-row performance of hypocrisy theater. Their double standards are so thick, you could practically slice them with a knife. From George Clooney's polished moral lectures to Bernie Sanders' socialism for thee, but not for me, act. Maher roasted every single one. And honestly, it was about time. Grab your popcorn. This takedown deserves applause.
Humans are not good people. It's just not in us, including me. And I'm tired of living well, not a lie, but it's also something I never mention, but it's a new year, and I'd like to come clean. My name is Bill, and I fly private. And so does every other person who calls themselves an environmentalist who can.
Maher kicked off the show admitting he's all for saving the planet. Then casually mentioned he still flies private. Classic Maher honesty. That's exactly the kind of eco-hypocrisy he was calling out. It summed up everything wrong with Hollywood's so-called environmental saints. Preaching carbon guilt while cruising at 30,000 feet. They quote climate stats like Shakespeare and hashtag save the planet in their sleep, but when it comes to actually living what they preach, silence. Their activism isn't about saving the earth. It's about polishing their public image. It's environmentalism dressed up for a photo op, and Maher, with his trademark bite, finally gave them the verbal reality check they've been begging for.
Stars and politicians who speak about the need to reduce our carbon footprint, but who are always on private planes. That's right, all of them. If you don't see a celebrity's picture here, it's because we weren't allowed to use it. Or their series got canceled. But all the environmentalists of Hollywood and Washington do it. Their position on climate change is, we must do more to stop pouring carbon into the air, except for me when I want to go somewhere and then I take a private jet.
That's why I can't take these people seriously once the lights go off. Most of them cash massive checks to raise awareness, which really means boost my brand while pretending to care. Even the ones who act like they're doing it for noble reasons. Please. That's not virtue. It's vanity wrapped in recycled packaging. Their mission isn't saving the planet. It's saving their reputation. The mansions, the fleets of Teslas, the private jets. It's all part performance. And then there's Bernie Sanders, the man of the people, who somehow looks perfectly at home sipping champagne with the 1%ers he spent decades attacking.
But all the environmentalists of Hollywood and Washington do it. Their position on climate change is, we must do more to stop pouring carbon into the air, except for me when I want to go somewhere and then I take a private jet. It turns out there is one thing in this world that is completely impossible to resist, and this is it.
What makes it funnier is that most of the celebs Maher roasted are the same ones constantly worshiping Kamala Harris, proudly flashing their Democratic loyalty pins. They call themselves eco-warriors, as long as there's a camera around. Save the planet has been their favorite line for over 20 years, shouted from award shows, red carpets, and social media captions. Yet after all that noise, what's changed? Nothing. The planet's still burning. Emissions are still climbing, and their private jets are still painting the sky. Why? Because it's never been about progress. It's been about performance. Their passion is rehearsed. Their causes are costumes. They don't want responsibility. They want retweets. They treat activism like a movie role. Learn the lines, pose for the shot, accept applause, then drive home in an SUV big enough to host a dinner party.
It turns out there is one thing in this world that is completely impossible to resist, and this is it. It's like heroin. If you do it once, you'll never stop. There are two kinds of people in the world, those who fly private and those who would if they could.
Maher's just saying what most people are thinking, and I'm with him. Let's be real. If someone offered me a private jet ride, I wouldn't hesitate either. Who would? It's quiet, fast, and blissfully free of crying babies and airport chaos. No TSA lines, no cramped middle seats, no tasteless airplane food. Flying commercial feels like punishment with wings. Flying private? That's heaven, comfort, freedom, and peace all in one takeoff. Maher's point wasn't that private jets are evil. It's that pretending to be a climate saint while sipping champagne at 40,000 feet is where the halo starts to crack.
A third category, those who could but do not, does not exist. Except for Ed Begley and Greta Thunberg. And that's why you never see a picture of her smiling. Ed and Greta, that's who walks the walk. Everyone else is full of shit, and I'm done being full of.
And that's what makes Greta Thunberg stand out. Unlike Hollywood's eco-preachers, she actually lives her message. She doesn't just talk, she walks, bikes, and sails it. She could take the easy route, hop on a flight, and justify it with carbon offsets. But she doesn't. She chooses a hard, inconvenient path because it matches her principles. Whether you admire her or roll your eyes at her, you've got to respect that she lives by her words, something most celebrity activists can't claim.
I can take being a bad environmentalist because almost all of us are, but I can't take being a hypocrite. Now, I always justified renting a plane because I only used it for work and literally could not get to most of my stand-up gigs on time any other way. How do you think I did it all those years? I said goodnight here at 8 p.m. and was on stage in Vegas at 10. But I don't need to do stand-up, like tomorrow night in Albuquerque.
Sadly, that's exactly what the Democratic Party has turned into, a masterclass in performance politics and selective morality. They present themselves as the moral compass of the nation, armed with hashtags and Hollywood endorsements. But pull back the curtain and it's all stagecraft, carefully rehearsed virtue for the cameras. They'll back any cause that trends, just long enough to score applause, headlines, and another TV appearance. It's not conviction anymore, it's choreography. Every sentence is filtered through par, every opinion carefully tested not to offend. And in that process, they've lost something crucial, authenticity. They don't stand for what's right. They stand for what's popular. Their beliefs shift with the algorithm. Their values trend like memes. What used to be a movement has turned into a performance, where image beats integrity every single time.
And outside of heads of state, almost everyone else could fly commercial. Why don't they? Ask anyone who tried to get home for Christmas last year. And don't tell me the younger generation is better. They're not. They're just poorer. They're actually worse. This is who they look up to. The family where everyone has their own private jet. And kids love Bitcoin, which, to determine the value of, takes an amount of computer processing that uses more electricity than some whole countries. Kids could have rejected that, but they didn't. They love it. Why? Because they want to be rich. Why? So they can fly private.
Maher then turned his fire on the younger side of the Democratic Party. And he didn't hold back. He pointed out the irony that the most educated generation on climate issues keeps repeating the same mistakes as those they criticize. They've attended every summit, signed every petition, and posed for every protest selfie possible. Yet, as Maher cleverly said, their climate passion isn't moral, it's financial. They care because they're broke. It's easy to bash private jets when you're stuck in economy on Spirit Airlines. His joke landed hard. Give these same people the wealth and luxury they mock, and they'd burn jet fuel faster than they could say, eco-conscious. His punchline cut deep. Maybe their activism isn't virtue at all. Maybe it's thriftiness dressed up in green.
No one can resist it. John Kerry is our climate czar, and he uses a private jet. It's like if the Secretary of Homeland Security smuggled drugs in his butt. People take jets to environmental conferences. If you could run TED Talks on hypocrisy, you wouldn't need coal.
And Maher didn't stop there. He took a direct shot at the DNC's hypocrisy, and it hit perfectly. John Kerry, the man literally appointed as a presidential envoy for climate, was caught flying private, not years ago, but after taking that role. That's the definition of tone deaf. You can't lead the global fight against carbon emissions while leaving jet trails across the sky. It's like lecturing on sobriety with a drink in hand. Maher's point couldn't have been clearer. You can't sell virtue while shopping for vice. The hypocrisy is off the charts. These are the same people lecturing middle-class families about their carbon footprints, while their weekly jet use could power a small town. That's not leadership. It's theater, virtue signaling in designer suits, fueled by jet fuel and moral superiority.
But sorry, not sorry. I tried to do my part for the environment. I never had kids. The one thing worse for the planet than private jets. It's true, because then they have kids. I had the first generation Prius in 2001. It looked like a Tylenol gel cap. I was always handing my keys to valets who were driving a better car than me. I had the first Tesla in 2010, and honestly, both these cars sucked. The Tesla came up to about here on me. If I had a hard-on, I couldn't fit in this thing.
The rest of Maher's monologue was a perfect blend of sharp humor and self-awareness. In true Maher fashion, he even poked fun at himself, bragging about driving a Tesla and try to convince others to go electric. But as he joked, that didn't exactly take off. The more people learn about EVs, the less magical they seemed. Sky-high prices, limited charging stations, batteries with their own environmental baggage, and electricity still powered mostly by fossil fuels. Maher admitted, with that familiar sarcastic grin, that the green revolution has a long way to go. It was another funny but biting reminder of how good intentions often crash into reality, and hypocrisy